entramos aqui já no parque. Só que o passeio é só 10h30. 10h30 e 1h30. Tava dizendo 10 no site, mas é só 10h30.
10 acho que abre e 10h30 é o passeio guiado, né?
Ali no caixa ali tá escrito 10h30 e 1h30. Tipo, saindo, né?
Uhum.
Que é 2 horas de coisa.
2 horas de
2 horas de passeio. E daí eu fui perguntar pra moça, né, se eu podia tirar foto aqui ou filmar. Ela falou que sim, menos na casa tem uma kiwi house aqui, que a gente vai ver os kiwi bird. E eles são animais noturnos, né? Então, só que não pode tirar foto porque senão perturba eles lá. Vou mostrar pra vocês aqui. Fui fazer xixi, vazei, a Vanessa agora não me acha lá, perdida. Vai reclamar, vocês querem ver que ela vai reclamar? Ih, amor! Olha lá, me viu. Igual uma criatura selvagem. A espreita. Só esperando a hora de reclamar. Ela tá afiando as garras dela, olha lá.
Que foi?
Nós vamos fazer a tour agora. Eu acho que esse aí é o nosso ônibusinho, pra falar a verdade.
Ai, gente, é muito engraçado.
Não, se for isso aí mesmo, nós tá muito turista demais, né?
Now directly above you there is a beautiful green line, and if you need to catch the attention of our driver, please pull the green line and it will alert the driver of any situation going on. And throughout the movement of our vehicle here, please keep your feet and hands inside the vehicle at all times, and do be wary of passengers on the outside of the vehicle or pedestrians on the outside of the vehicle as well. Our next stop is just going to be over here to the left hand side, coming up to our mud pool, our Mokai Kopo. It is also the largest mud pool here in our valley. So we have a quick stop in the mud pool and then we'll head down to our geysers. And also water, which are giving us our geysers and mud pools. Now, our mud pool here is about maybe 95 degrees Celsius at the moment, but it can cool right down to about 70 degrees Celsius, so you wouldn't want to bathe in a pool like this, hey? Now what it is, it's clay
jam-packed with natural minerals like sodium and calcium, and phosphorus and sulfur. And what these minerals are doing is they're combining to create a natural material that is perfect for the healing processes of skin. So if you ever wondered why people put it on their skin and use it in soaps and body scrubs and all this kind of thing, the mineral content is the reason that they do that. And I use it myself, and I'm 56 years old.
Tem alguém aqui que tá igual a criança, ó.
Tô. É muito legal. A gente viu o kiwi passando. O lugar é tudo escuro lá, mas dá pra ver. Nossa, ele é grande, ele é desse tamanhão assim, ó. Eu achava que era pequenininho, mas ele é grande, tem um bicão. É muito fofo.
Não vai dar pra mostrar pra vocês, mas é legal.
Depois a gente posta uma foto pra vocês terem uma noção de como que ele é. É muito legal, é muito fofo. Nossa, adorei.
Vamos ver agora o geyser.
Over in the valley? So this is where the magma is closest to the surface. The magma is only 15 kilometers from each other. Magma is like massive, like lava, massive rock.
Olha a cor da pedra, cinza.
So, to tell you about the regular explanation of our geysers here, the combination of heat and pressure, blah 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 blah. But the Maori version is much more interesting. So in the days before man kind of walked Aotearoa and we first discovered Aotearoa over 1,000 years ago, our people arrived at Makatu. Okay, Makatu was on the east coast. When they came to this area, as I mentioned, their paramount chief and the high priest had a disagreement between themselves and they split the tribes in half. So one tribe came here to this territory, Rotorua, and the other tribe traveled south to Tongariro and to Tongariro and to Taupo. Okay. Now, unfortunately, when they traveled there, being from Hawaii, which is Tahiti, Rarotonga, Hawaii, and they arrived here in Matariki, which is in winter, and it was snowing on Tongariro, they thought that they would freeze to death. Okay. And so what the high priest did, according to legend, is he called out for 2 fire spirits to come from Hawaii to warm the land beneath them, so that no matter where they walked, the land would be warm. And so he did that. Their names were called Te Puia and Te Hoata. And they travelled across oceans here to Aotearoa, and they landed at Makatu, travelled through Rotorua right down to Taupo, and heated the land for those travelling through this area. And so you'll find that the most geothermally active land in all of New Zealand is from Rotorua through to Taupo, okay? And that is the exact journey that Tuwharetoa and Te Arawa took to establish their territory, okay? And so when all of this area was heated, it was easier to live in those areas because the land was warm. So you could sleep on the land, create your houses on the land, and also this warm water would be for bathing and stuff as well. And that is the explanation for the geothermal energy over here in this area, 2 fire spirits coming across the oceans from our ancestral homeland. But of course there's the other explanation: pressure, heat, magma, blah 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 blah. Yeah, you know how it is. I mean, for you guys.
Agora, uma coisa é certa aqui, o cheiro aqui é muito forte. A caatinga. Oi?
I'll show you the difference between the sun and also the earth.
Nossa, é muito legal. Meu Deus, parece que a gente tá em outro mundo.
So this is a heat of the sun. This one's not hot. And feel that one there? That's the heat of the earth.
Oh. You try it. Just put a finger out. No. Very scared. Oh,
Beauty.
look, my hand's not going right now, right? Go there.
So it's the heat of the sun and the heat of the earth there, okay? So we call these the hot seats.
Oh, that'd be nice to sit on.
So just make sure not to sit on a crack. Yeah. Just make sure not to sit on a crack, okay? The cracks are where the steam is getting laid out, so it'll give you a little bit of... Yeah, so the cracks is where the steam is getting laid out, okay? So you're more than welcome to take a seat on the rock there, just don't sit on the cracks.
Você achou?
Bem legal. E aí, menininho, o que você achou?
É muito louco, né? Nossa, aqui eu senti mais o cheiro.
Ó, não fuma, senão explode.
É. Olha o lago lá, né?
Bonito, né?
Bem bonito. Nossa.
So just over there is the Kahurangi, that's the bathing pool, okay? We call them the blueies in English, but the Kahurangi, the bathing pool, and that's open to any directly into the water, okay? So I'm not even unfortunately allowed to bathe in the pool, I'm not a direct descendant of Wahia, but everyone that lives in Rotorua village over here, I can bathe in the pool. It's said to be a sacred healing pool, right? So people will go there to heal.
Yeah, by the way.
And that's exactly in here. Like, I mean, if you want to get creative and cook crayfish and boil your mussels, or you want to boil your tuatuas or pippies in this here, you can do it. I've cooked pasta twice in here before. If you want to get really creative, and hangi, your meats as well, lamb, chicken, pork, can all be cooked inside the steam vent here.
What does hangi mean?
So hangi is actually the oven.
Ground.
So hangi is an oven. So hangi is just the name for
So
an
you
oven.
could call this hangi.
This is a hangi as well. So anything that cooks food is an oven. Okay, and so the reason why we call this hangi as well is because it's where we're cooking our food. But hangi, for other tribes, what they have to do here, well, I'll start with our explanation actually. All we do is put a box around a steam vent and put our food on top of that steam vent, and that's all we do. And other tribes, because they don't have the geothermal energy like we do, you're digging a 5 meter long hole by 5 meters, and it's about 2.5 meters deep as well. You're removing all of that dirt. You're placing very heavy river rocks into the So that's our steam pudding in there, guys, and it's just been cooking in there. We made about 2 hours, and any food will take 2 hours to cook inside this vent here. Around here we have, so over there is an old hot pool that we used to use for cooking as well. Hot pools are a bit different. They're slightly warmer, or they're slightly colder than this here, so we only cook vegetables in there. Also, we can't cook meat inside hot pools because the minerals in the water and the minerals in the meat, they react quite strongly, which creates a really disgusting tasting meat and also really slimy looking water. So we just cook vegetables there. But before Europeans arrived, our people were pescatarians, hey? So there were only birds and fish available to eat in terms of meat, and then also vegetables, a very healthy quantity of vegetables and fruit. And so when Europeans arrived in Victorian era, our people were outliving Europeans about 25 years because of our diet and also the absence of alcohol, smoking and disease as well. And so the Europeans came to Aotearoa here and introduced a number of amazing things like chisels and guns and alcohol and germs and all this kind of stuff. And so yeah, but we're trying to get back to the old ways of cooking our food and preparing very healthy food. But this is an English recipe we stole. So this is an English recipe that we stole. Steam pudding is not traditional in any sense of the word traditional, okay? But nonetheless, it tastes pretty good, so we stole the recipe. But we'll come down here and we'll try some.
Então agora o Geyser tá aqui atrás de mim, mas ele tá... Ele tá descansando, como a Vanessa disse. E...
Tá de boinha, por enquanto.
O moço explicou ali pra gente que a erupção pode acontecer por 15 minutos ou até 290 dias, um negócio assim. Então é muito tempo, né? Fazendo...
É de hora em hora.
É, ele acontece mais ou menos de hora em hora.
É igual o resultado da telecena, né?
É o quê?
De hora em hora, o SBT informa o resultado da telecena.
E tá lá, ó.
Será que já faz um... É quente mesmo.
A Vanessa sentou ali agora, que diz que essa rocha aqui é rocha vulcânica.
Meu Deus,
Tá esquentando a marmita, Vanessa?
Nossa!
E aí, tá queimando o popozão ou não?
É muito quente.
Então sai daí, né?
Não, tipo...
Vai queimar a nossa.
Nossa senhora! Não dá.
Vai danificar a nossa.
Que nossa!
Over there is where all our kids swim.
Nice.
And even if the guys is going, because it comes down cold.
Parece que nós vamos andar ali, vamos bem pertinho do geyser ali, vamos ver. Olha lá, e tá lá a Vanessa lá. Ixi, a bateria. Ó, diz que a Vanessa vai vir ali no geyser ali, ó. Vamos ver. E a câmera tá sem bateria. Puta merda. E tá lá mesmo, ó. Ó, aqui é onde as pessoas normalmente vão. E lá onde a dona Vanessa foi, ó. Vamos ver se pode essa Vanessa. Tá lá, ó. Todo mundo vem aqui, os réis mortais. A Vanessa tá lá.